So today marks the start of a brand new series on both my vlog and my blog, so whichever way you like to do these kind of things, there's an option for you. So this series is going to be called Cook Disney with me, and it's exactly what it says on the tin. So I'm going to be attempting to cook some of my favourite Disney recipes from Walt Disney World. So today I'm going to attempt the Ohana Bread Pudding. I got this recipe from a website called allears.net. It's all in American measurements, there's some kind of crazy ingredients in there, so I've tried to substitute that with English ingredients. And I'm going to give it a go and see how it goes and see if it tastes anything like the real thing. So fingers crossed, here we go. I'm starting today by putting together the pineapple coconut mixture that goes inside the breakfast bread. In order to do the bread pudding recipe, you need so many portions of the Ohana breakfast bread, and that recipe is also available on All Ears, so I'm doing that today as well. Now this recipe calls for 1 cup of crushed pineapple and 1 cup of coconut. I don't like coconut, so I'm doing 2 cups of crushed pineapple. It may be a little overpowering, but I think it's going to be quite nice. And I'm doing that first, even though it doesn't come first in the recipe, because you have to chill it for an hour. So I want to get that in the fridge and start to do some of the other bits and pieces while that's cooling. I've just had to go and put socks on because you probably could see there I dropped sugar all over the floor, and I'm like, I'm not spending the whole rest of this recipe with little tiny bits of sugar sticking to my feet. So I've got socks on now, so all's good. I need to add I need to add 2 tablespoons of corn flour to this now, and then I've got to mix the sugar and the pineapple together and then chill it for 1 hour. So I was going to make the banana caramel sauce next that goes on top of the dessert at the end, but reading it, it says serve warm, which, you know, I'd rather not reheat it, so I'll probably just save that till the end. So what I'm going to do now is make the dough for the breakfast bread, and I'll just let it rest until the pineapple has chilled for an hour. I'm absolutely thrilled with that. I was having visions of it going horribly wrong, but that is exactly what the recipe asked for. It said leave it in the mixer until the dough hook picks up the dough and the sides of the bowl are clean. That's exactly what happened, and it happened so quickly. Like, I'm paranoid that everything isn't mixed, so that's the reason why I put it on for a longer blast at the end there. So I may give it 1 really fast mix just to make sure everything's gone in, you know, the egg and everything. But that was exactly what the recipe said should happen, so it's going well. So what I've done now is I've covered the bowl up. The recipe did not ask me to do this, but generally if you want dough to rise, it rises quicker when you cover it over and put it in a sort of warm area of your house. I'm not really sure where a warm area of my house is, but anyway, I'm going to go through and let it rest in the living room, and I'm going to clean up the kitchen. I have to let this rest until it's doubled in size, and then potentially the pineapple mixture will probably be ready anyway. in which case I can move on with the next step of the recipe. Okay, so I'm back, I've cleaned the kitchen, I've had some lunch and I'm feeling revitalised. So the next step of this is going to be to roll out the dough, which is my most hated bit because the dough is so sticky and I hate touching it and I hate it going by my nails and stuff, so I'll see how that goes. But anyway, the dough hasn't doubled in size or anything. It never does when I do dough. I do cinnamon rolls quite a lot and the dough never rises. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But anyway, I'm just gonna press on. So here we go. Fingers crossed it all goes okay again. I am highly skeptical about this part of the recipe. All the recipe says is fold the dough into itself, so I've assumed that's just fold it over, so let's see what happens. Okay, this could get messy because I've now googled what folding dough into itself means, and it is literally keep folding it over and rolling it round, so we'll see how this goes. The recipe did not tell you to go over it with the rolling pin, but it was in such a mess I didn't know what to do. It is so watery, so this could be a massive disaster now. I've got to cut it with like a pizza cutter or something equally as sharp and then put it in even pieces into a cake pan. I don't know if I've got a big enough cake pan, so I might have to do this in 2 batches. And then I need to put it in the oven to help the dough rise. I've got the oven on a temperature of about 40 degrees, so I have a massive feeling this is all gonna fall apart now, but let's see what happens. Personally, I'm of the opinion if something is cooked, I don't care if it's a mess. So it looks a mess in that pan at the moment, but as long as it cooks, to me it doesn't really matter. So what do the instructions say now? I've got to let the dough rise in a warm oven until they're about halfway up the pan. So I don't know, I'm just going to go for it and put it in and see what happens. So it's said to cook until it was golden brown, so it's kind of brown. I could have left it for longer, but I don't want to wait anymore. So I'm going to move on to the next step now, which is chopping it up and toasting it, which just seems ridiculous after I've just cooked it. So there we go. So this next bit is now from the Ohana Bread Pudding recipe. What I've just baked is the Ohana breakfast bed recipe. So I'm now breakfast bread recipe. So I'm now moving on to the next recipe. Cut the bread up into pieces and bake it for 15 minutes. final hurdle now, because the bread has just come out from being toasted and now I've got to dunk it into this milk mixture, then put it in a cake pan to officially cook for good. So there we go, nearly done. It has gone into the oven now and it's got to stay in there for an hour. Thankfully and surprisingly it all looked pretty good. So initially what I did was dunked the pieces of bread into the milk, and then I was like, this can't be right, like they can't make you use 5 eggs or whatever and then you don't even put that on it. So I poured it on it, and I did have a little look on YouTube to see what other people did with other kinds of bread pudding, and it looks like you do pour the milk mixture over, so that's good. And I've just had a bit of a look and it already looks like a lot of the milk mixture has gone into the bread, so that's really good. So I think I've got about 45 minutes to relax now, and then I'll think about making the caramel, because I want the caramel just done so it's all really warm to serve together. And I'm really excited because it's taken me hours, so I'm exhausted, but I can't wait to try it. So I'm going to make a start now on the caramel sauce so it's all ready and warm to go. So shocked because it's all finished and it's all actually looking really good, so I'm really excited now. I've just got to add vanilla and bananas to the caramel sauce and then it's all ready to be served.